Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. Holy mackerel, you'd think I could figure this out, but I can't. Meet the new boss. That's a lyric from a song that I've been recently told is dad rock. You're going to see a bunch of videos here where I am fighting the end. I'm doing the wicked tree, trying to get the extra XP to level up my character. So a lot of times when you get a game and they have patch notes, it's all hyped up. I thought about making a patch notes video, but when I looked at what was happening, it wasn't really significant. They want it to be significant, but in these games, the changes are always incremental as they go. You know, Blizzard's vary, and Diablo, the developers are very experienced in tweaking the game and doing the modifications to the game and your skills and everything. Doesn't change. If you stink, you still are going to stink. It's just you're going to stink either more or less or better or worse. One thing that I've been telling people for a long time, but this was true a long time ago. I don't know if it's true anymore. I'm assuming it's true. But I switched to a two-handed weapon, and it's a little bit better. The idea is, well, there's Whispering Vault all done. Normally, YouTube, this is when I ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe, hit the notifications. I really appreciate everyone helping me get to 500. The idea, if I get to 500, is that I am going to do more reviews of laptops and then give out the laptops. Still owe you my laptop. I bought a laptop and within the past couple of months, and I should give you an update on how it is and what I used to have. Right now, I'm trying to give you... This was an interesting dungeon where there was 3 mini bosses at the end. I've switched to a two-handed weapon, and even though it's not as fast, so you might not be applying the same things when I crit and I do all that other stuff, the damage is much more. I found it made killing a lot different. You might see in some of this, I took ravens instead of hurricane. And some I might have rabies instead of raven. That skill in my number 2 slot is one that I'm playing with. The thing that's nice about ravens is it's a targeted location damage thing, so you can be off away from the boss. You don't have to be next to him. With hurricane, I got to get right in there. So it's not bad. It's a little bit faster than hurricane. And you can see, well, there it goes there. I just lights refuge. Whipped through that like it was nothing. So I've been experimenting around with that 4th spot. Sometimes I like rabies. I'm looking for some type of AoE where maybe I don't have to go get in. I've switched my upper tier Paragon stuff to more poison again, with the thought that I'm not going to be doing a lot of the werewolf stuff, but I am going to be using poison creeper, and rabies would have some nice synergy. This boss is always hard in that it's going to do a rabies like a life steal kind of mechanic, so you want to again be ranged. And so you can see, I think in this one I might have rabies, so I want to get up in there. And having the dogs has helped a lot too. So again, I've told you before, I like being a pet class. Some of this is personal preference, and some of this is, I think it's really better gameplay for a druid. So yesterday I talked about the druid. That the problem with druid is it has so many possibilities. It's hard to focus on what you need to focus. And every class has the... for example, sorcerer has different elements you can be. But really, the druid can really, you think you can do a different whole job in a dungeon or whatever, a whole different way to attack it. And what I found is All of those are fine on normal play, but as soon as you start ramping it up, the penalties for not being, and maybe I'm going to get better gear where it would be more likely, but I think it's not as good as Barbarian, to be a tank, and it's not as good as a Rogue to be a damage dealer. There's some things that are okay. And right now, this is going through that. Really, I just want to get on the 4th tier and see how that is. That's really all I care about right now. I am... In the Division 2, they did this mechanic where you had to do all this junk to get up to the top tier where you're getting the best gear. It's really aggravating that you make a game that I can't just play in the top hardest tier right from the get-go. But that's how it is. Some of these dungeons I went through, there was not a boss at the end, so you're going to see some of the play is just, kill 5 blood boils, and then when I get to the last blood boil, I pulled that out. Normally, if you look at the aesthetics of the screen, normally what I do is I zoom it in 130%, so it's a little bit more zoomed, and then I offset the toolbar so you can see that still. Sometimes I'll let you see the radar, sometimes not. This, I just did it where I zoomed it just slightly, and then I kept everything else in there. So this is more traditional how it looks while you're playing. Not that you care about the aesthetics. Maybe you do. If you do, thank you. But talking back about Druid again, so I've kind of slowly steadied up on, I'm going to be ranged, energy generator. My core skill is lightning. I have poison creeper. And this is where I still had hurricane. Hurricane really is nice. But it is on a cooldown a little bit more than Ravens. It's bigger than Ravens. Ravens has a thing where it gets intermittent damage coming in, and Rabies is different. I think it's a faster cooldown even again. Rabies is hard because you don't always spread it to everyone, so you have to go in for the mechanic, but with the dogs, it's a lot easier. When there's no dogs, it was a little bit harder. And so really, my whole thing is poison, so I'm doing more poison damage, and I'm getting less damage done when everyone's poisoned. So that's really the key to this, and that's why Rabies will probably play a more important part. I don't know if you use ultimate skills. I don't like to wait that long for an ultimate skill. The battles are too fast. That's a thing to consider. When I talk to people in the division, sometimes they would, talk about there's certain mechanics where they'd say, well, that piece isn't that good. A lot of times you're killing things so fast. It doesn't matter for you to wait for the full development of a skill, or if it's, counting up or a stacking skill. You're just going through things so fast, especially in Diablo. So really, I haven't done any in-depth, like how much health the mob has and how fast I'm going to kill it. But in general, on normal, look at Sunken Library all done. On like a normal mode, you're just killing things so fast, doesn't matter. And really the intent, like the developers kind of said today, the intent is for your end game stuff to be in nightmares and doing the tree kind of quest to get geared, and you're going to do that over and over. And so I think for every class, it's your play style. If you're a mage, if you were a mage in World of Warcraft and you're a sorcerer now, you know that mechanic, you know how that gameplay is, you're comfortable with that. If you were a druid in World of Warcraft, you're going to feel right at home with this. And really, you're going to feel right at home that, you're right, it's like earlier druid where you can't do everything. So, I want you to think about I guess if I was to give you a thought for today, think about the ebb of flow. I had an event today at work, and it was really great being with everyone. There was a lot of people. We're all strangers, but we got together and have a small community, and it was really great. We got to do something really nice for a bunch of people, and it was very satisfying to be able to do something nice for people. I think I've told you recently about me and my work history and that kind of stuff, and that's one of the reasons why I left a lot of the jobs I was doing before, was because I wanted to have that satisfaction. So that makes it worthwhile. And now I'm at a whole different stage in my life. When I was younger and my kids were younger and I had to provide for them, I wasn't about any of that life. I was just thinking about how could I do more to help my kids out, do more things for my kids. And at this point in my life, I'm going to tell you this: if you do not have kids, they never go away, and that's a good thing. Somehow you think when they get older they're going to take care of themselves, but I never left my mom and dad in that respect like that. They always were a big influence in my life, and so I talked about this earlier, like, what is the story? What's the movie look like? And as I have gotten older and have kids, I know the movie isn't about me. So it's more what I can do for them. They don't really think of me. They're not thinking of me down here or wherever I'm at doing this video, recording a video with the dogs or any of that kind of stuff. They're doing their stuff, which is great. And that's okay. And that's what I told you about perspective and the empathy and the sympathy. If you can be empathetic to other people's situations, it kind of helps you out. One last correction about vulnerability. I kind of glossed over like soldiers. You can't really show signs of weakness unless it's a strategy to fool the enemy. You really want to show your best face forward. So I that's probably understood, but I just wanted to say that because as I listened back to that was a thing. Like, there's some situations that you do not want to show weakness, but not showing weakness to these mobs here. I'm just taking them out. So this is Ronan Kazi. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for the help getting to 500. Hopefully we get there where I can start giving away laptops. Thanks. Ronan Kazi out.